Hello, everyone. Great to be here. I guess there's nobody online, or is it on? Oh, okay. Okay. I thought it wasn't working because I couldn't see the video. Okay, great. Hello, everyone here as well as online. So it's a pleasure to be here today, and I want to talk about the work that we do at IIT Madras. I'm a professor in the mechanical engineering department there, and I have been working in assistive devices for people with locomotor impairments for that magical number, 30 years, over 30 years now. So that seems to be everybody said 30 plus years. So I'm just amazed that I'm not the only old person in the room. So my journey in assistive technology actually started when I was in the final year of my undergraduate program at IIT Madras. So I was also a student there. And I was looking for a project, for my final year project. I was looking for something where I could use my mechanical engineering skills to see some tangible benefit. And when I visited a hospital, the rehab center at a hospital, I think I found my calling. I found my joy. And I decided this is the area that I want to work on. So after my bachelor's, I moved to the US, like so many of my friends back then. I worked in research, research in biomechanics applied to assistive devices, mainly prosthetics. I also worked in the prosthetics industry for several years, and then moved back to India after 15 years to be an academic at my alma mater. So when I came back to India, I was quite disheartened to find that in the 15 years that I had been away, not much had changed in the assistive device landscape. The devices that were generally available were very low cost, but quite poorly designed and not very functional for the users. And for those who could afford imported devices, they were very expensive, hard to repair and maintain, and in some cases not even suitable for Indian conditions. So I thought, okay, this is an opportunity for me. I decided to start working with my students on projects that kind of tried to fill this gap. We wanted to design more functional, affordable devices, maybe simpler devices, but still with functionality, better functionality, that would be more useful AT. And we also wanted to, make it high quality. But at that time, we were focused. So we had many good prototypes. We built, I had some really motivated students. We built some good prototypes. And a few years down the road, TTK, a company which has nothing to do, they make pressure cookers. They have nothing to do with AT, but they generously came forward. They saw what we had done. And I told them that, look, I can't really make an impact unless I try to take some of these to the market. And for some reason, they believed in me, and they said, okay, we'll fund a center for 5 years. You do your best. And that's it, But at that time, I really had no idea on how to take something to the market, how to take a prototype to the market, sitting there in academia. Things changed when I had to write a proposal to commercialize one of the prototypes we had developed, a standing wheelchair, a manual standing wheelchair. And the process was so rigorous, and I had to, fill in so many gaps and figure out so many things that it was a wonderful learning experience, and at the end of it, I thought, what, even if I don't get the funding, I now have a roadmap on how I want to try doing this. Luckily, we got the funding, and 4 years later, we launched the standing wheelchair. This was a great learning experience, and along the way, we evolved the GRID model. GRID stands for Grants, Research, Industry, Dissemination. It's a collaborative model that we've been using to develop AT and take it to market. And we were also able to support our startup, NeoMotion, to go to market with 2 of their products. So since 2019, 4 of our products have been commercialized, and we have a few more in the pipeline, probably in the next couple of years, and several other projects that we are working on. But in this journey, we soon realized that, we've kind of figured out how to do this product development. We've gotten smarter at it, better at it. We are able to now take things faster to the market. But we realized that, in the big picture, appropriate assistive technologies alone are not enough. It's not going to we realize there are gaps in so affordability is a big challenge, because many times the user of AT is not the buyer. So you could make a device that works great for the user, but you have to convince whoever is buying it, whether it's an NGO, whether it's the government, whether it's a relative, that this is something that is going to help this person and make your life easier too, right? So so affordability is a big challenge, and while we've addressed that somewhat with the GRID model, again, sustainability of startups, all that plays into this equation. Even worse, we found that the lack of awareness is a huge challenge, the lack of awareness, not just among users, but there are many doctors, surgeons, medical professionals like therapists who still haven't understood the idea that one size does not fit all. And that's a huge challenge to overcome. So that was another thing and we found that, if there is lack of affordability and this lack of awareness, that's going to lead to lack of acceptance of the device eventually. Because if you're not going to get the device, or if you get a substandard device, you're more likely to reject it, and it's not going to work for you. So that if you're not able to do what you want to do with the assistive device, then you're not going to be able to integrate into the community, and therefore, again, the isolation and lack of acceptance comes in. So we started tackling some of these challenges with the newly established National Center for Assistive Health Technologies, also established at IIT Madras. This is an initiative of the Indian Council of Medical Research. So that's great, because now at the government level, they are recognizing the work that we're doing in AT. And this center features experience zones where AT users can compare devices. They can experience different kinds of accessibility hurdles that are normally encountered. Like, we have created zones where you have grass, you have carpet, you have potholes, the kind of architectural barriers that you would normally encounter in everyday life. And somebody with mobility impairments can come and try that out. Come and see how their wheelchair feels on surfaces like this in a safe environment. We also conduct, so it's not enough that AT users experience ability. We want to sensitize others to how disability can be imposed by the environment. Like someone said yesterday, the wheelchair is an enabling device, the stairs are the problem. So so we ask people to sit on, say, the usually available low-cost wheelchair and try to navigate these surfaces, and then try another device that's more ergonomic, that's more biomechanically appropriate, and see how it feels, right? So when they experience that, it doesn't matter if you're a user with disability or without, a light bulb goes on, that the appropriate device can make a difference. So we want to influence policymakers with this kind of an experience. We've also created zones where, again, we have low ceiling areas where people on wheelchairs can navigate comfortably. But try walking through those areas. I barely make it, and I'm only 5 foot tall. Right? So it really gives people that idea that sometimes disability is something that's imposed by the environment, not necessarily your impairment. We're also, we have peer trainers who are expert wheelchair users, and along with our clinical team comprising occupational and physical therapists, they train other wheelchair users. So we conduct a wheelchair skills program where they train them in the center to navigate these kinds of surfaces, do a wheelie, negotiate a curb, negotiate slopes of different gradients, because we have all this in that center. We also do, as part of the training program, we also take them out for community outings. They've gone to the mall, we take them to the cinema theater, we take them to the beach, so they can apply the skills that they are learning in this course. And it's also an eye-opener when people see 10 wheelchair users coming to a theater or to the mall, because we have not normalized the use of AT. Yesterday, when somebody asked, how many people identify as disabled, I noticed that all of us who wear eyeglasses didn't raise our hands. But let me tell you, without my eyeglasses, I am disabled. And it's only because it's normalized that we think that, this is not a disability. So we need to change the idea of how we look at disability. So these are some things that we have been doing at R2D2 and NCAT IITM. And we now have, several thousand of our devices out in the market being used for the last few years. And the impact of that is actually several-fold, because disability or the use of AT impacts not just the users, but also their families and the community. But it's still just a drop in the bucket. I mean, there are millions out there who need these devices. And we have to do more to ensure that every person who needs AT gets the device they need. So this is going to be a challenge. And I think the work that we do would not be possible without the collaborations. We have collaborations with NGOs, rehabilitation centers, hospitals, other research and academic institutions. And of course, end users are a part of all the development. They're end users, and not just the end users, but the stakeholders in between too, like the therapists, who are the ones who are going to convey this message to the end user that there are better things out there. With the right device, with the right training, you can do much more. So it's important to get them into the conversation as well. So that, and of course our funders, we would not be where we are without all the people who have put their trust in us and funded our work. So can I have that slide up there? I have one slide. I just wanted to show you what, a snapshot of what we have done. But we'd also, so the, to avoid things like the disability dongles. So we are working now with GDI Hub to create an open innovation portal for AT. And not just, so we are going to have users put up problem statements so that startups can avoid, they can take up problems that people really want solutions for. We are trying to also innovations that may not all be scalable, right? Not every innovation in the AT space, it's a difficult market. Not every innovation is going to be scalable, but if it even helps one person, it's worth putting it up there. So we want to put up innovations like that, which may not really go to market, but which someone could take the design off of there and get it locally made. So we want to, because this AT is a different market altogether. It's not like other consumer devices. It's a very fragmented market, and therefore for startups to be sustainable too, like Koala, for instance, or our startups, you have to access the global market because these devices are generally of global relevance. Yes, they may need some tweaks for local contexts, but if you have a good functional device, we're all human beings. Our impairments, there is some commonality there. So AT can work in different contexts with some tweaks. But it's important for startups to be able to access these global markets. And that's again something that we hope we can work with partners across the world to make these devices accessible in different countries. Is the slide up there yet?
I don't think the slide's going to work.
It's not going to work? Okay. I just had, you can go to if you Google R2D2 IITM or IIT Madras, you can see some of the things that we have done. I just had a bunch of pictures there to show the devices we have and some of the activities. We organized a Sports for All event last year where we had adapted sports for people to play regardless of their, regardless of whether they were on their feet or on wheelchairs or, So we are trying, we've realized that a holistic approach, a holistic, multidisciplinary, collaborative approach is what is needed in the disability space. And we have miles to go before we sleep. But there is so much joy. There is so much joy in this work. It's 30 years and I'm not bored. So I'm so happy to be in a room where everybody is passionate about AT, and thank you for the opportunity. Thank you. I made it.
Thank you, Sujatha. That's wonderful.